Hello everyone. Today is 31st March and I'm Malabika. I'm back with my Corona blog. Of late, I saw quite a few articles in newspapers like Guardian and Independent strongly criticizing Sweden's Corona policy. There were a few in BBC as well, but they were less critical. The main point was how Sweden is not following the norm of total shutdown and how this is going to spell catastrophe. Yes, it is true that Sweden has chosen its own course, but it is the second part that I object to. There is no impending gloom, and the situation is being monitored. There is no dogma anywhere, and it will be changed if and when the situation demands so. The head of epidemiology, Anders Tegnell, is holding daily briefings and is in touch with his expert teams and political leaderships. With about 140 deaths reported so far, the situation is well under control, much better than many countries under total lockdown. Sweden has chosen to isolate and protect its elderly vulnerable while trying to keep the things running as much as possible, especially schools and kindergartens, so that the key workers can work without the burden of childcare. This is perfectly logical given the near zero effect of corona on children. I totally support this strategy. This is working fine for Sweden due to various reasons. Its sparsely populated towns and cities, its extensive high-speed internet connection, and above all, the general awareness of public. There were almost no panic buying and people were working from home wherever possible. People here try to keep distance in public transports and restaurants if that is possible. And its huge parks and vast wilderness provides people with ample opportunities to go out and about without jostling with a crowd. I go out every day for walk, either in the woods or in the nearby lake, and I seldom meet anyone other than a handful of joggers and dog walkers. I also went out to a few times to buy some non-essentials like some plants yesterday, but the huge store just had a handful of customers, so keeping a 2-meter distance was no problem. None of these scaremongering articles back up their prophecy of impending gloom with statistics and data. They are just hearsay and interview with one or two critics. It is always possible to find a few critics no matter what policy you follow. But most of the people here support the stand. Definitely I do. Everyone else is under the lockdown is not a good argument. But meticulous monitoring, ramping up the health system, and taking collective responsibilities are. As the Prime Minister said, we are all adults here, and that's exactly how we are supposed to behave, like adults. The government cannot tell you everything and cannot ban everything. Use your common sense and follow the WHO or governmental guidelines like washing hands or keeping a 2-meter distance. There is no reason to believe that imposing draconian rules work better than relying on collective responsibility, especially when the stakes are as high as countries' fiscal health and people's livelihood. True, people's lives trump them all. But so far, there has been no evidence that this path has led to more deaths. On the contrary, Sweden's corona mortality rate is significantly less compared to many other European countries under total lockdown. There are few other countries like Japan who are also under the similar path and they're doing just fine. This is a complex balancing act, depends a lot on population density, available healthcare, resources, and general public's willingness to adhere to guidelines voluntarily. The scaremongering article writers would do a much better job if they focus on these factors rather than prophesying the impending apocalypse.